Looking sideways.
Okay, we are now live. I want to welcome everybody to the Matured Musicians site. And I am your administrator today. And I have with me a representative, Elektrik Dave, from the band Premonition. Before we introduce Dave, I do have a commercial that I have to do for Chad. So Luscious Moss Studio. It is operated by him, and he's located in Edgewood, Washington. And he caters primarily, or he's set up for drummers and guitarists. He has quite a setup in his studio, so he tries to create a very collaborative and creative environment, which I think he's done quite well. So with that being said, this is Dave, Elektrik Dave. Say hi to us, and we'll begin this interview.
Well, hello. This is kind of a different experience, and I want to say that I got to see Chad play at the open mic, and he's just really great player. I was really impressed.
Yes, yeah, he's been at it for a long time, and he does occasionally do jams, but he's the lead guitarist for Heart by Heart.
Heart by Heart, that has, don't they have a couple of the original members of Heart in their band, I believe?
Yes, they do. Yes.
A very fine group.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. I just got through writing a rock song called Pieces, put together one by one about that group. And I had asked Roger Fisher, who used to be the lead for that band back in the day, to help me write or give me an idea how to write a rock song, because I'm country. And that's how that all progressed. So sooner or later, it's going to come out. We're still trying to get another vocalist in there to go. But with that being said, let's talk about you. I'd like to know what your background was when like, for instance, like what instrument, when did you start to play? What bands were you in that finally led up to Premonition? And go ahead, we're waiting.
Well, in my house I grew up in, both my parents were Depression babies, grew up during the Depression. So it's kind of funny. I don't think we had an actual electric record player till I was in second or third grade. They had the old wind up with the 78, and they played Benny Goodman and stuff. Yeah. And finally, I think I was in second or third grade. My older brother, is 14 years older than me. He got an actual electric record player, and he started collecting records. And he was getting Creedence and Beatles and all this stuff from the later 60s. And he had this quite extensive record collection. And I was about 5 or 6 years old. He got drafted into Nam, and he wasn't there, but his record player and all his records were. Now, when your big brother says, "Don't touch my records,"
yeah,
when you're 5 or 6, you think, okay, they're going to be gone a couple of days. I won't mess with them. But a month or so later, you're putting Creedence on, and you're listening to the White Album. Thing about my older brother was in bands way back when Paul Revere and the Raiders was playing around, and in the Sonics and all these bands. People my age aren't supposed to know all this stuff, but I got the crash course. We lived up in Skagit County, and my older brother had this way. My parents would leave to go somewhere out for the night, and my brother's supposed to babysit me. Yeah. Well, he's supposed to babysit me, but that might entail going down to Burlington roller rink, even though I didn't know how to skate. But I watched this band that was called Paul Revere and the Raiders.
Yes.
And I thought that was pretty cool. I was about 5 years old. Of course, when my parents came home, I don't know why, but I knocked him out. And then he was mad at me for a while, but it wasn't long that he was letting me watch me. And he wasn't supposed to go over to his girlfriend's house, but he would take me to the park. And he'd actually put me on his lap, and I would steer his car, and I was driving all over when I was 5 years old. It was, I love my big brother. I call him a couple times a week.
So how did that record player lead into your playing, and what was your first instrument?
Well, the record player, and like I said, him leaving and all his records there, I got into his record collection,
Hmm.
and I listened to all this stuff from the later 60s, and it really stuck in my head. It really, because that's what it was either when my mom and dad played stuff, even if you're 5 or 6, you're used to listening to Benny Goodman and all these different bands, big bands, and all of a sudden there's Led Zeppelin's on. And it hit me like a ton of bricks. I
Hold
was
on a
like,
minute, Dave. We have I guess we have a viewer here making a comment, and they said, "Hi, Dave and Joy." Andrea Hollister is saying that greeting for us.
Andrea, yeah, she's
Hi, Andrea.
great. She keeps us informed of all the open mics and the musicians, Ronnie Lee and
Yes.
Lynn Sorensen and them, and they're so talented. Wow.
Well, I think going beyond talented, just to plug here for Lynn, I think that people like Lynn, who have such a vast and varied background, hosting people like us is really a very noble thing to do, I think, because he does encourage everyone, and no matter what level they're at, and they always get good backup from him. And I think that's really important to all of us.
And he's really great about stuff too. He's really great about that. You know, like our bass player for Premonition, Rick, it works during the week, so he can't really go out during the week. So we went to open mic, and then Lynn played bass for us. And there was a couple songs I don't think he knew, but he somehow managed to know them.
Who's that? Who is that, Lynn?
Lynn,
Oh,
Lynn,
he hears it. He
he
listens.
just hears it.
Yes.
I was impressed by that, but I was impressed that he just was friendly and nice and this good guy. And these people have been playing for years that are great. They don't have no funny stuff going on. They're just good, and they just want to play, and they lift you up. But
Humble.
now I'm in Tumwater, so I don't get out to Spanaway every time, but I go when I can, and I just love the open mics out there. Olympia has open mics that they're usually someone getting up with an acoustic guitar,
Right.
and you go out there and there's a whole band, and it's like the next day you're like, I played with the tour bass player for Bad Company, kind of I was like, oh, my head needs to unswell here a little bit the next day. So, but
Anyway,
it was great.
yes, absolutely. Now
But
let's talk about where you were at with your music. So you were listening to this record player from your brother,
yeah,
and and what
and
happened then?
the Creedence and the Led Zeppelin, and like I said, I think he's still got all his records. It's the biggest record collection I ever seen. But anytime, well, back then, every time a record came out, you went and bought it.
Yes.
So he's got like everything from like early 60s on up to the 68 or 69 when he went in the service. But I tried everything out, even Winchester Cathedral. I really
I like
I
that.
really can't, really not into that too much. But what happened was I got a feeling of the big band sounds and stuff and orchestras from my parents. And then I got the big brother coming in with his rock. And the next thing you know, it's fourth grade and they're saying, who wants to be in band? Well,
Yeah.
they didn't have electric guitar or bass guitar
Yeah.
uh, up in Enumclaw at the time. They had trumpet and saxophone. And anyway, so I started playing the trumpet in fourth grade, and was in band all the way through school. So I learned some stuff about music. I wasn't the best trumpet player around, that's for sure. But, I did it, and it was fun. And later on, marching daffodil parades and stuff when I was down in Sumner. And anyway, that was kind of a different thing. I still have a trumpet, and I still get it out once in a while. I've threatened my band with it plenty of times. But so anyway, my big brother goes in the service, and then he comes back from the service a few years later. Oh, I must have been in third or fourth grade.
A lot of them didn't come back. You're lucky he came back.
Yeah, I'm real. Well, back then was different. I was a little kid, but every night at 6 o'clock, Howard Conkright came on with his casualty reports.
Yep.
And everybody was tuned into the
body count.
At my house, you sat on the couch. You didn't say a word. My dad was a Guadalcanal veteran, so you didn't talk out of turn. I think that's what happened with my long hair was I turned into a teenager and I rebelled a little bit, which
Don't we all?
But my dad was great, though. I think these guys from back then, they got on American soil, they kissed the ground, they had a beer, and they just wanted a job and a family. Or he was a great dad. He played fiddle and harmonica.
Wow.
You could always tell when he was in a good mood. I'd wake up on the weekend, he'd be in the kitchen cooking breakfast, and he'd have his harmonica going. I don't know what you would call it, but you'd do a jig dance to it, like some country jig, and he had his dog trained, would circle around and dance with him. I wish I had video of it. But my parents were, they bought me my first instrument was a trumpet, and there was music in my house. And then I was in band, and then his brother came back from Nam, and he had this beautiful 12-string guitar. And he's like, I'm going to go buy another. He had a 63 Harmony Fender copy with a little amp, 5-watt Supro amp. He bought it Sears for like $75 together. That amp's worth $800 now. I wish I still had it. I don't know where it went, but anyway, my brother handed me down his old guitar and amp when I was like 12.
All right.
And I really didn't play. He showed me. Well, I know about the third day. My brother was kind of nipped at me. He showed me House of the Rising Sun and some Jefferson Airplane and some Beatles. And by the third day, I was playing it. And he's like, well, you got me beat already. And I was like, oh, don't be like that, But I was cherished that my big brother handed me down his stuff. But I got into not really playing songs, but making different sounds. I think Jeff Beck went through something like that because watching him, he makes a lot of different sounds and he gets into seeing what different sounds he can make. So I went about, till I was in about my mid 40s, I would get the guitar out and I'd play Smoke on the Water on the one string and I'd see what sounds I could make and I'd put it back. Well, then I had this old guitar I bought at a garage sale, $20 garage sale guitar. I didn't even have a guitar cord. I wired in a speaker cable to go to my stereo amp and had it hooked through there so it makes sound. And, it was just like I had 3 kids and I was raising in a 10-hour day job. So it was the best I had. But this band I liked in town, they were good. They were playing all kinds of stuff and they were good.
Who were they?
They were called No End.
No End.
No End. It was weird, but they wanted a guitar player. Their guitar player had left, and the drummer guy had been over at my house and seen the guitar in the corner and thought I was a guitar player. Which, up till then, all I really did was I had a little band. And this is the thing about names. A catchy name goes a long way because me and the first actual band I was in my 40s, it was a guy I knew from the bar, hung out with him. After about 6 months, he said, well, I got a drum set over at my house. I'm like, well, why are you just now telling me? But
uh-oh. I've lost you.
Oops.
Here.
Disappeared for a second. Anyway, this little Brian kid had a bass and was in a country band. And we took him to the bar and convinced him that, oh, no, you should play rock and roll. You need to come play with us. and we totally messed this guy's head up, but we got a bass player. And we learned Gloria, Born on the Bayou, and Purple Haze. But of course, I wasn't playing no lead guitar or nothing. I was just playing it, and my drummer Richard was singing, and it was a thing. Well, we're at the bar. I lived by Evelyn's Tavern up in Clear Lake, and the people from the bar heard us and come over and said, "There's a party up on the hill. Do you want to go play this party?" And we're like, "Play somewhere?" It's like it never crossed our minds. Never crossed our minds to actually go play somewhere. And we were just messing around, but we went up there, pulled in, and there's hundreds of motorcycles everywhere. It was, I won't say the club, but it was a well-known biker club having their big party up there, and we were supposed to be their band, and my knees were shaking, and I was scared. I want to leave. I want to go home now. Well, they had this little stage built for us, and we got up there and played. We tried to wait till most of them were drunk, but we got up there and played, and they were watching us, and it was like, hey, I guess we're a band. But we played Gloria. They seemed to like the song Gloria, and my drummer was ad-libbing a talking part in it of how he walks up to her window and climbs in her window, and one thing or another. I'm not even going to say how far he took it, but my drummer did this, and they loved it. So we played Gloria for about a half hour. And then we went home thinking we were rock stars.
Oh.
Well, the good thing about it was they had a real band in the bar the next weekend, so I got a good attitude adjustment because I think it was Johnny Brewer and Gary B, Johnny Brewer played on stage with Les Paul. He's the finest guitar player I know personally, and it was just great. But I came home from work one day, and my drummer was at my house, and I walk in the house. I hope I can say this. I open the door and walk in my living room, and here's his drum set up, and on his bass drum, he's got a great big pot leaf. We were trying to think of a band name, and I walk in, and there's a great big pot leaf on his bass drum, and it says the Potheads. Well, I'm like, you can't do this. I got kids. You know?
Yeah.
But anyway, some other people, he left it there, and some other people found out about it, and the word spread like wildfire. And we even had these little stickers made, the Potheads. And I went to school to pick my son up from school. Something happened, and here's every other locker's got a Pothead sticker on it. I really felt famous then for a while.
Oh,
all the junior high kids knew who I was. But anyway, it was kind of funny how it started out.
Oh, that's so
it was just, and it progressed. I was in a couple more bands. Some friends of mine went over to the store, and the gal was singing to the radio, and I'm like, "Can you be our singer?"
Oh,
I mean, we didn't know nothing what we were doing. We were getting by on our name at that time, and that was a name that it just spread like wildfire. But I eventually practiced and practiced and practiced and played to a point, like I said, this drummer friend of mine came over and said, "Hey, you want to be in our band?" And I'm like, "Well, I'm not really. You guys are playing bars all over an established band." He's like, "I'll give you 2 months. I'll give you 2 months. If you can do it, you can play with us. If not, then no." So I had this big yellow Monte Carlo, and I got up at 6 a.m. to go to work. My guitar would be strapped in the bucket seat next to me. The cop pulled me over. "Who's your friend?" "Who's your friend?" he says. And I'm like, but I pretty much played my guitar at break time and lunch. And it was like an extension of my arm. I lived with my guitar, was by my side for 2 months, and I played as much as I could. And I made it into their band.
all
So
right.
I was, that was the question there. Am I good enough? Well, I was just at the point where, they could work with me, and they were seasoned, been playing for years. So they taught me about sound dynamics. I remember our first band practice is, "Hey, she's singing, quiet down. We want to hear her. You wait your turn." They really taught me a lot.
Yeah, that is cool.
They really taught me a lot.
I have a few people that we need to say hello to. Some of them did not give their names, so please be sure to type your name. There is no way the system, if you don't go through it properly, will put your name up here. So we do have another hi, Dave and Joy from someone. It could be Raymond. He often tunes in. Another howdy, not sure who that is. And a Bobby Schellen, Schell.
Bobby, yeah. Hi, Bobby.
Says, hi, Joy and Jerry. I don't know who Jerry is.
Oh, no. Because of my beard. I just grew this beard.
Oh.
And I've been joking around. I'm going to fluff my hair out. And I'm going to do the Jerry Garcia impersonation and learn some Jerry Garcia songs. But and then everyone said, well, no, you're younger than he was never young like you. Well, he had to be at some point before he got old. I mean, he had to be a baby and grow up. So anyway, I'll take it as a compliment.
All right.
I'm learning,
he does put LOL on there, so I knew he was joking.
I'm going to learn some Grateful Dead songs. And of course, Howard is now calling me Electric Jerry.
Electric Jerry.
Yeah, Howard's.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Howard's so great. You know, I looked at Howard one time and I said, you play so good. You know, you should be Electric Howard.
And so we have more comments here. We got a hiya all and a howdy. It's Chris from the James Carr Band. Oh, hi, Chris. I'm glad you tuned in. And we had him on last week. So yeah. And then the Incredible Edibles Band is on here saying, hi, Dave and Joy. So hi, Incredible Edibles. I don't know who you are, but contact me. And
these are some great players. Great players. Now, they go back to my band's history because the Incredible Edibles, I went to open mic out in Gilm at the Quarter Mile, and they were doing open mic. And they had a full band, so you could just get up and play, and they were great. They had just formed like the year before or something, but they were great. And I was going to their open mics, and that's where I met my drummer Shirley at. My band actually was kind of formed at their open mic night. So we loved, and the Incredibles are just great. They do a really, really great. They're really great. That's all I can say about them. I love them to death. Gary on theirs. I was, saying something on Facebook or they're on Hugs Radio. They've had some #1 independent radio hits.
Yeah. And
they're just kind of, if it wasn't for them, there would be no Premonition Band. So I thank them a lot.
Okay. And Bobby Schellen says, love you, buddy.
Bobby's great. She's a big supporter of music. Anytime we do anything around Howard, she's there. She's, part of the music family. Every area's got a music family from that area.
Yeah, but we're all one big family.
And we all, this family's people might know some of that family's people and this and that. And we're all just connected. Yep. That was a great group of people. There's no people getting too drunk or wanting to fight. It's just a really good crowd of people that just love music.
Right.
And
she also says Premonition kicks ass.
Well, we're I still feel like we're fairly new, but we're getting it together. We're learning. The thing that I wanted to do was you go out and hear bands, and sometimes you hear a lot of the same songs. And I wanted to be different. If somebody's playing Barracuda by heart, then I want to do a different heart song I haven't heard no one do. So that brought on doing some different heart songs. Caitlin, I have to get a plug for Caitlin.
Yeah, that's your singer.
Everyone in Rick's 50, 51. Shirley's in her 50s. I'm in my later 50s. And then we have Caitlin, who just is 29 again, I believe. I don't know. I think she's 29 still. But she's never been in a band, but she's a natural singer. She is just wonderful. She really is the icing on the cake. Rick sings too, and he's a great singer. But Caitlin's just something special. We really love her.
Rick. Now, Rick is your
Bass player.
Yeah, and you're the lead, and Caitlin's your singer, and Shirley is the drummer. Yeah.
Yeah, we got a woman drummer, and that's great. You know, it's great because, you know, sometimes we go and play and all the women are like, hey, we can do this. And they can.
Yeah.
You know, the guys ain't no better than women when it comes to playing. You know?
I have another comment here. Yes, she is a great drummer, and I enjoyed seeing her at Rumors the first time we went there. But somebody here was asking who Howard Comfort was, and another viewer answered that he said Howard Comfort is who he is. Well, he has several bands, and you want to give a shout out about Howard just briefly?
Oh, well, let's see. Subvinyl Jukebox, and I think his wife or girlfriend sings in that, and she's great. And let's see, Subvinyl Jukebox, and then he's got Led Zeppelin.
Yes,
which I seen came in fairly close on the list as 10 best tribute bands in Washington. They really scored real high on that. That was quite an honor. I mean, I would think to be one of the top, you know, because the casinos they just love these tribute bands now. Yeah. So and he's got another band he just started called Leonard. Yeah. And he's got his AC/DC band. What are they called? Oh boy, Soul Stripper.
Oh yes,
Soul Stripper. Yes. I don't know how many bands Howard's in. He's the most playingest guitar player I ever seen, and he is great to watch. He just don't stand there. He does his rock thing, and he comes out in the audience, and he, you know. Howard is there's only one Howard, and we love him. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I interviewed him. He was all over the place, man. That guy was bursting with energy. It was amazing.
Oh, you know, I put up on my Facebook a while back a picture of Howard playing his guitar while he's on this other guy's hanging on to his back up in the air. And I went, you know, this is Howard. Yeah. Howard's 60 years old. Be like Howard. It's amazing energy. But he's a good guy. He'll sit and you ask him, you know, what'd you do there? You know, he'll let you know, and he's been good. He's a good guy.
We have another commenter here talking about T. Giles, I believe is how he pronounces it. He's a he said there's a Guns N' Roses tribute.
Oh, another tribute band. What's their name? Tell me.
Guns N' Roses, and
Sweet Child. I think they're called Sweet Child. There's another band Howard's in.
I don't know who is that. His is this the T. Giles? Is that Howard's band?
Did say his name again?
T-E-E. And then Giles, Giles. Yeah.
Well, Sweet he knows he's in the family. Now, I probably talked to him before. I haven't really met him too much, but I know of him. He's another great guitar player too. But a lot of these people, I know who they are and I know how they play. But when you're out playing, it's like me. When I was playing up in Skagit County, someone knew I was Elektrik Dave and seen me play with the band. They had no idea that behind the scenes I was a single father raising 3 kids, pulling my hair out.
Yeah.
It's another person in the music family from the Puyallup, Tacoma area. It's just a great group of people. And of course, I'm out in Tumwater, so the Olympia has its own kind of family, too, from that out to the ocean. So and up in Skagit County that had its own deal. But I've seemed to meet people from every music family from here to Canada and back.
And another commenter said Howard's bands are of Stockton's all the time. What does that mean? Are at Stockton's. Oh, they're at
Stockton's, is that
Stockton's.
place in Maple Valley, is it? Or
I don't know. I have no idea where Stockton's is.
I'll have to look that up. I see, but some of these places, there's a place they play out in Renton, and it's just I'm 5 minutes from the state capitol, so
Oh,
I'm limited. I like to go to open mics and see other bands, but I have to limit it to the point where,
right.
when I leave the bar, I can't get home at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go out there one of these times, and see. It's always great to meet new people. And Shirley's great about that. I got to say a good word about Shirley. She's
a drummer.
I've been in a few bands, and people show up here and there. People show up, and you play together, but you don't really know them sometimes, what they're really like. Shirley's like a sister to me, and she's. It's nice that one good thing about this group is when it's band practice, everybody knows it, and they're there, and they're eager. We'll be playing a song, and somebody will get excited, and it's just great, to see the people getting excited about it. There was a song Caitlin did one time, and Shirley broke down and started bawling. Shirley, we're at band practice, but Caitlin is a phenomenal singer, but it's great to have energetic people that are there and want to be there. I went to too many bands where band practice comes. Where'd they go?
Yeah.
Where are they at? Yeah. You know the drill, I'm sure. I was in one band where I literally started playing drums and got a drum set and hired another guitar player because the drummer wouldn't show up for gigs sometimes for one reason or the other. So I did learn how to play drums a little bit, but I don't credit myself as a drummer at all because I can wing it at best,
So we have some more comments. That is Stockton's in Maple Valley, he says. And he says, Dave, come see us at the Spanish Ballroom on March 27th. Would love to meet you. Early show, 5 to 8.
Oh, yeah, great. I try to get out what I can. I'm want to make sure that I get in a word about Shirley and Rick and Caitlin because they couldn't be here.
Yeah.
But it's like a music family. I try to convey that, we don't just show up and play. I mean, we go out on my boat in the summertime and stuff, and we hang out, and we're more like a family than we are a band, even though we're a band. But it's just nice to be like that. Yeah. And I went into this band thinking, we're not all 30-year pro veterans here, but I believe in us and believing in each other. And that's the best thing that happened with us is we believe in each other, and it just works.
Absolutely. So can you tell me a little bit about the background of your Shirley, your bass player? I mean, I did post bios out there, but just after you met Shirley, apparently there was some changes and you brought these other people in, or were they already with you? And who are they? What can you tell us?
Well, it started with me and Shirley playing out at the Credible Edibles open mic. I met Shirley. And I was playing with somebody, and we wanted to get, a bass player and a drummer, and actually we had done a show in Yelm, but we had a drummer and a bass player come sit in with us, and another singer gal just for the show, and it was great. But we wanted a whole band, not just it was me and an acoustic guitar player, and I was backing him up on lead, but we wanted a whole band, but So we hired Shirley at open mic, but then my friend I was playing with, I don't know why, backed out of it, and didn't. He just wanted to do his own thing. So
yeah,
we'd already hired Shirley, so I'm like, well, and Shirley introduced me to Rick. They've been together 20 years now, I believe.
Oh,
A great couple. And he plays bass. He hasn't been playing for 30 years, but he learns his part and he's solid on what he knows, and he's coming along great. You know, he's a good guy. He one thing about it is Caitlin and Rick and them are, you know, have day jobs. I'm on Social Security as well as Shirley, so we have more time. But you know, for them to give what they're given, and like Caitlin has 3 kids and a job, and for them to give the way they give is just great.
yeah.
You know,
Gotcha.
but now Shirley started playing, I guess, when she was about 5, started playing piano,
Oh,
and then she switched to guitar. And I know that she must have played guitar at some point because she grabbed my guitar one time when I was playing some chords on it, and I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna go play your drums," you know.
yeah.
So she's been in music quite a while now. Her and Rick was in another band for quite a while called the Bad Assets, and they played
That access is cool.
Bad Assets. Isn't that another good name? It's all his name.
Yeah. Like SOBs. I love that one. The
Yeah.
band.
Everyone thinks it's SOBs, but Sandy's other band.
Yeah.
You know, I got to give her credit too. She's been such a inspiration, you know. When I first played at her party after I hadn't played for a long time, and I got another guitar and went to her party, and they let me up and play, and I felt like a beginner again, and she knew it, but she's watched me kind of progress here, and loves Sandy too. She's just great. You know, everyone thinks she's this great bass player. Well, she had lessons from Carol Kay, which was in the Wrecking Crew. So, you know, that explains part of it there. But she don't tell people that she was a skier, a great skier when she was younger. Did she tell you that? She was on the national ski team. In the U.S. Nationals, she won like a silver and a bronze at the Nationals and was getting ready to go on to the Olympics. That's how good she was. But somewhere along the line, she hurt her leg. So she didn't make the Olympics, but she was set to go to the Olympics.
Yeah.
So, you know, Sandy's quite the woman. An amazing woman.
We have another comment here. It says, can hardly wait to hear you all again at next August party. Frank Davies.
Oh, Frank Davis, another great guy. This is the guy too that's really into music, and where I'll listen to something on YouTube or listen to it and learn the song that way. Frank will get the sheet music, and he's into classic and jazz and stuff. Just great. I got a little project going with him. We just started working on some original stuff. He's got some original stuff that we're working on that we wanted to get worked out and maybe record. Ranges from everything to 30 and 40s jazz on up to newer rock. I mean, Frank planned this thing last year, first time deal festival called Corona Palooza. And he didn't know which band was which, but he got some bands. And we've got this out here at the Deschutes River Ranch, great big field next to the river, all weekend camping. We had some gals come in that put up a food booth and they fed everybody all weekend for free. It was Frank's a planner guy. Yeah. When they had the World Karaoke Championships, he was the guy for the U.S. that put it all together.
Wow. And I understand you're doing something like that right now. You have a project going with some band, Shirley said.
Yeah, this is with Frank. It's Corona. Well, there's 2 different things. There's a Corona Palooza going to go on later August, and we hope to have 25 plus bands, which last year we had a bunch of bands, and there was even bands showing up that heard there was something going on that we didn't even have time for to get them on. But this year we're planning it a little, learning the ropes to know, okay, and I'm doing the bands like the Incredible Edibles are really great. They should be like one of the closers at night, maybe on Friday or Saturday night, and trying to plan it a little better. But it went great. It was a great thing, and it was just a bunch of musicians together. We built a stage out in this field. If you build it, they will come.
Yes. If the gig is there, they'll come.
Now,
the
other thing I'm working on. Oh, I just want to say there's another project I'm working on called Moon Jam.
Okay.
And it's put on from some other people, the Bruglias. I think they're from Spanaway, but they do a full stage and lighting, professional looking deal, and have bands come in and play 3 times, 3 different shows in the summer. And I've told them, I can help out with sound and stuff, and we can play there. So that's 2 things I got going on.
All right. So how did you survive during COVID? Did you guys get together? I mean, I don't know exactly when you met Shirley, what year, or how you.
It was before. It was a little bit before COVID, and we basically said we're a new band, and we're just getting started here, and of course, we want to keep politics and stuff out of our band.
Right.
But we decided, if someone's sick or isn't feeling well, let us know. But we're going to get together and practice anyway what we can. And we did. Now, not saying that, I'm kind of on the fence. I'm not for COVID. I'm not against COVID. I ended up getting it real bad last January and was in the hospital twice and found out I had an underlying heart condition.
Oh, my.
I found out the hard way. Laying in the hospital bed, wondering if I was going to see my grandkids grow up, but I got over it, and then my doctor said I should have antibodies built up for a while, so I just took it from there. But yeah, I guess somewhere along the line I made up my mind that I've been in and out of hospitals. I was the smallest baby born in the state that lived back in '63, 2 pounds 10 ounces, and I just you would never know it now. Believe me, yeah, bro, that. But I think I kind of made up my mind that I'm gonna live and be me. I'm gonna live and be me. If I'm at the age where if I do get it, I should be okay. And then I went ahead and got it, and I wasn't okay. But then my doctor said I should have antibodies and be okay for a while till I get a shot. So, but we practiced what we could during COVID. Like I said, I'm in a little 1-bedroom apartment here. If I don't get out and play, I'm going to go crazy.
Yeah.
I
got it. Yeah.
So I took my chances and I lost. I got COVID and then I got over it, and now everything's lightening up. The numbers are going way down. The restrictions are getting lifted, and I'm hoping that be out playing, open mics and out playing gigs at bar and grills and stuff, or rock the docks or whatever there is to do.
What do you have in your schedule right now? What kinds of things are you planning in the future? Do you have new songs coming out that you've written or playing, or do you have any gigs that are set up at this point?
Well, we got the Moon Jam. We're going to play it twice, and then we have the Coronapalooza 2 that we're going to be involved in. I do sound for that, and I'm the stage manager.
All right.
I used to have a sound company up in Skagit County.
Oh, okay.
A little, I had about 10,000 watts and 2 truckloads of stuff. And I actually got the contracts for Rosario Resort. They do their big festival Fridays. They had back then they were having Charles White Band and Tim Turner Band and all these great bands coming in there. So I was doing my sound company thing, and I was busier than I wanted to be. I was running my butt off. But I recouped all my sound equipment with newer stuff, and I'm I'm gonna be doing sound gigs here and there when I can. And
Uh,
um,
the sound that you're running, are you using the computers like some of the bands that are using the computers to manage
well,
your
they
work?
have all this fabulous new stuff out where you can run your mixer board from your tablet and all that stuff. And I've been looking at some of that stuff, but I'm still running the old school stuff. I'm running, amps and speakers and regular mixer boards. Although I'm set up now where I can run two stages at once, and I have an 18 lights array of lights and stuff. I put on quite a deal and some great equipment, but I'm on Social Security, so I bought my stuff
Yeah.
piece by piece, offline, used. When I seen something that was a good deal, and it looked like new, and now if I was doing an open mic or something, yeah, I'd have one of these mixers that you run off your tablet and stuff. So,
Right.
eventually something like that. But for a 16 or 32 channel, one of those is in thousands. The little 8 channel one I think is 1,800. Quite expensive. I got to do what I can do.
I just went to Guitar Center and I got a gig coming up, like I said, in LaConner. And I just bought a couple little things, nothing fantastic, some guitar strings and etc. And I walked out of there with $100 worth of stuff. And I'm like, oh my gosh, just something would have cost maybe under $50 before.
You got by easy. I walked in there looking for a power conditioner for my rack, and I was figuring on $100.
Yeah, right.
But the thing was, and then I seen something else I wanted. And then I seen, oh, that's nice. I think I need that for my other guitar. And next thing I know, I'm up $535, and I'm at the counter and I'm saying, I'm buying all this stuff, but I got $500. It's coming to $539. Can you make this power conditioner on sale for me?
Oh.
And of course he didn't know, and he went and talked to his manager, come back and said no. And I'm like, well, go get your manager. Let me talk to him. And we worked it out. They gave me a little break on stuff, but I still walked out of there $500 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
That I'm glad I have, but it's hard to go in a music store when you're a musician.
Yeah.
I think anyone that plays, I have a friend that plays clarinet. She goes in the store after a couple clarinet reads, walks out $300 less, but she's got all the music books she wanted.
Yeah. So looking back, who do you think was your biggest influence besides your brother's records when it comes to bands that inspired you to continue to practice and do your music?
Well, I would have to say, there's so many that I've often thought about who's my favorite, and I don't think I can limit it to just one, but I'll tell you a story of something that happened to me that made me really love Pink Floyd too, even though, I don't play much Floyd, but I was a little kid, and my uncle, my mom's brother, was an electrician. He worked on people's TVs. He worked on their cars. He worked. He was the guy up at Snoqualmie that got all the steam engines. Started working on those and was the head guy. Got the steam engines restored and going years ago, and then went over to Elby and got their steam trains going. So he's quite the electrician and mechanic, but I was 6 or 7 years old, and he lived next door to where we were at the time. And he comes over to see if my dad's there. My dad's still at work, so he takes me and my brother. Come on, I got a new stereo. You got to see it. What's a stereo?
Yeah.
What's stereo? It's 2 speakers instead of 1. Oh, okay. Well, he bought this heat kit stuff, and he built this. It was the first component system I ever seen. He had the record player, and he had the 8-track player, and he had the amp and equalizer and the whole stuff with these speakers, big speakers, and right in front of the couch. And he sits me and my brother on the couch, and he puts on, I think it was Pink Floyd, something, and he turns it up, and it just blew me away. It sounded, the first time I heard stereo and it was cranked up, something like that, I just sat there with my mouth open. They had to pry me off the couch and make me when it was time to go home. But it hit me like a ton of bricks. You could hear all this stuff, and you could, different stuff's coming out of different speakers. I'm like, whoa, I'm like 6 years old. I'm, whoa. So yeah. I think that experience made me kind of love Pink Floyd for some reason. Led Zeppelin 4. There's, of course, Rush. There's another Canadian band, not real well known, called Triumph. When I was in high school, they were my favorite band because the guy sang so good, but he did classical, like rock riffs, only like in classical form. Rick Emmett from Triumph, the band Triumph, was my hero in high school. And then, of course, when I was a teenager, got older teenager, then Black Sabbath is pretty cool. But I like Chicago stuff. I like Van Morrison. I like who's that other band? The one that does all the intricate stuff. Darn it, I can't remember their name right now.
Van Halen's band?
Who?
I don't know. I don't know rock, so
I'm trying to think of their names, and my brain is a sieve right now. I'm sorry.
No, my brain's been a sieve for a long time.
It's hard to say about me because, there's some even Benny Goodman that stuck with me from my parents' wind-up player, in The Mood. And I used to get my trumpet out and play that. Used to play that or The Entertainer or something on my trumpet. I got 19 guitars. Oh. I'm going to get killed if I make it 20. I've been informed that already. But every guitar I have, I pick it up and they play different stuff. If you have several guitars, one guitar you might want to play Zeppelin on, but the other guitar you might want to play something else, or Judas Priest, or the thing I love about my band is because we're diverse. Rick likes to do the heavier stuff, and Shirley likes to do 80s stuff. And I was saying, let's do a Cream song from the 60s. And then we have Caitlin coming by saying, well, let's play Evanescence or the Pretty Reckless band, and got doing some Janis Joplin and stuff. But it's kind of, I didn't want a band where we go there and someone's a leader and ordering us around. I wanted it to be fun. I didn't want someone ordering me around. So we kind of wanted to make it like a collective. Everyone adds their own deal. And, we might have a Creedence song. The next song might be some newer song Caitlin came up with. It's crazy, the diversity that we have is I think it's good.
Absolutely. So, and we only have a few minutes left. So I do want to find out what you plan or dream when you look at the future with your band. I mean, obviously you're a fun group. You enjoy your music. You enjoy playing. You're diversified. What is the goal of the band in the future, or your goal as a player in the future?
Well, when I started this, I thought, well, I don't know if we're just going to jam together or we're going to play places, and we played a few places, and actually more. I can think about it now. We played quite a few places. I think at my age, no one's counting on getting rich and famous. I think we just want to be able to play in front of people and see people have fun.
Right.
Now, Caitlin's, 29. I really think with the voice she's got, she could make it. She's got a phenomenal voice. Sometimes the other bands I've in, I get up and play like Eric Clapton and play my butt off and play. And with this band, when she's singing, I just kick back and play my part.
Yeah.
In fact, they actually give me like All Along the Watchtower and another couple songs where I can actually step up and play some. But I enjoy kicking back a little bit. And Caitlin, if you heard Caitlin sing live, she's
I did.
wow.
On the very first Rumors, the very first jam at Rumors, you guys were in the table in front of us, and Shirley helped me get a table. And yeah, and I heard Caitlin sing. You guys went up and played. I heard you play, and I heard Shirley on the drums. I didn't know Eric, so I don't remember him, but I do remember him being at the table, I think. And yeah, I heard her sing.
Phenomenal. I'm blown away by her. And something else too, like Secret Weapon is Rick. Rick is a great. Now me, I got to play guitar because I feel like I got to learn to play guitar really great to make up for me not singing. I can sing something in my range.
Yeah.
I do a great Johnny Rivers Secret Agent Man.
I like that song.
That's about it, maybe some Doors stuff, but I just can't say enough about Caitlin. I can't say enough about Shirley and her energetic wanting to play and getting excited, her and Rick. I can't say enough about Rick working 12-hour days and then doing a band practice. And if he don't know the bass line, he'll learn it. But once he learns it, he's got it. He's solid. It's just someone, I've been in enough bands, it's like a mystery. Who's going to be there for band practice? Who's going to be in the band next month? Who's going to be in the band the month after that? Granted, we went through 5 rhythm guitar players. We finally came through the assumption that you get someone in the band and you wait for them to catch up, and then you get them incorporated, and then they're gone. And we've just came to the assumption we're just going to keep going. We'd really like to have a rhythm player, but everyone in the band stayed the same, but we went through 5 rhythm players so far.
Oh my gosh.
And,
yeah, I get it. I've been there, I've done that.
And I can't hold it against them. The one guy, Mike is a great guy. Mike Pierce is a great guy, but he was playing with some other people, and he assured us he could be in our band and came to some practices and was working out great. But then he realized his other friends that he had were playing, and so he made his own band, and of course we're still friends. And I see that, his other friends needed him. I can't hold that against no one. If your friends need you, they need you.
Yeah.
But
I get the train station. People coming in, going out, going in, and coming in.
Yeah, well, that's one thing. A couple things because, I went a few years without playing because I had to concentrate on my kids. My daughter was disabled and she was having horrible rounds of seizures for a few years. Month-long stays at Children's Hospital, trying to juggle my other kids, in school. And I just feel like I went through the ringer, but my kids all grew up and moved out. And my daughter, I wasn't sure, but she's seen her brothers grow up and move out. So she thought, and she's over here in Lacey, got a nice house with some roommates and around the clock care. I see her all the time. She's 10 minutes away. My other son's 10 minutes away. My other son's over in Idaho working, but he's going to move back here. So, I wondered about, raising my kids. People told me, we can't be in a band, we're going to have a kid now. And I didn't get in a band till I was a single father and had 3 kids. That was a juggling act. There was one time my kids, I'm like, you guys sit in the back where I can see you so I can watch you while I'm playing.
I have one last question. We've got about 2 minutes here.
I'm making it. I didn't know how I was going to make it, but I think
Oh yeah, yeah.
I can talk all day, I
It's
guess.
all the same. I mean, everybody thinks, oh, an hour, but it goes by really fast.
It has went fast.
And so I really enjoyed the interview, and I'm sure everybody watching has as well. Yeah, from judging from the comments, and this has really been an interesting one. So, and finally, at the end of our time, I've got about 2 minutes to answer the question about what kind of advice would you give based on your past experiences and your current ones for anybody who's starting out and learning to play with the band, etc. So what advice do you have for us today?
Well, I would say probably number one is don't give up.
Oh boy, I've been there.
Don't give up. Number two is this is your life. Now, I'm coming from a family that I learned to play trumpet in and then later learned to play guitar too. And my parents, bless their souls, would probably tell you that I drove them nuts. But you can't have you got to just fluff off the negativity and you got to just do what you want and not quit. And it's the one, if you really, it's that way in life. If you really want something that bad, you're laying in bed losing sleep over it, you'll figure out a way to get it. That's what happened to me. I wanted to play so bad, that I made myself do it. And I'm so glad I didn't quit. The people along the way is, a neighbor guy comes over. I've been hearing that for an hour. I'm like, yeah, buy me some headphones. You won't hear it then. I wasn't going to give up. And I'm so glad I didn't because I feel like I'm learning, and I'm never going to quit learning. Even Howard will tell you, he's learning too. These great guitar players.
You never stop learning. I agree.
You never stop.
Never stop. No. I'm learning some licks for Walk This Way.
Oh, yeah.
Oh God. And I'm like, I'm not a lead. What is this? And
well,
because I wanted to learn rock. And so now I got to try to figure out the strumming pattern, which, Chad is helping me with, but it's like, what? I'm three chords in the truth. What is this? So I admire your capabilities.
It takes some getting used to, Chad, wow, some of his original stuff he's done is just great. I try to keep up with what bands who and who's who. I almost say I stalk musicians, but I really don't stalk them. I go on their site. I listen. I look them up on YouTube, see what they're doing, if they have stuff or they have any videos, and I try to keep up on who's who around. So I know who's who. That's a job in itself. That another job I have is looking online for fake guitars. I go online and I see a nice guitar for sale and it's a fake, and I gotta tell the people, I don't know if you know, but this is fake, and fake guitars have hit the market.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, with that, and great advice about never giving up, and I know how easy that is to do because I'm at that point, but I won't.
Well,
go ahead.
Thing is, if I could do it, a good friend of mine that was a professor at the university, I'd go over to his house and ask him science questions back in the day, and he got a guitar and he's going to learn to play. And after about 3 months, he looks at me and he says, "Dave, I don't get it. I'm so much smarter than you. I should be playing way better than you." And I'm like, it don't work like that.
No.
The guy was mad because he was a professor and way smarter than me. He should have done circles around me, and he just didn't get it. I had to tell him it's not who's smarter. I think it's who whatever comes out of you.
Exactly.
With me, there wasn't a whole lot coming out, but like Howard said, you play and you practice.
That's right.
And I practice a lot.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for interviewing with us.
Well,
today.
thank you,
and just keep on keeping on, and I'll be watching.
and
I
I'll
can't
be learning.
get you a gig, but I can keep following you on Facebook or wherever you are at.
Oh yeah, yeah, and I'm part of your matured musicians.
Yes.
Uh, well, I'm sure not your spring chicken musician.
Well,
Anyway,
it actually doesn't mean your age. It has nothing to do. I have younger people on too. It means your development of your music. Some people develop at a very early age. Other people take years, like me. You know,
well, like
and
I
I'm
said,
still not.
I played Smoke on the Water on the one big E string for years, and to put the guitar away and thought it wasn't until my mid 40s that something clicked, and I actually learned how to play. So you
Exactly.
know,
All right. Well, you have the. I love your band already. Hopefully, I'll get to see you in the future. If you ever are out at Howard's and I get there, maybe we can play together. So in the
yeah, I
meantime,
was hear that there's a jam coming up at Howard's house,
yeah, Friday.
and
Yeah,
sometimes there is. Is it this Friday?
yeah. There's one Friday.
Well, I think that I'm going to be there.
All right. Well, you
All right.
take care, and
You
thanks for
take care
doing it.
too. Thank you so
All
much.
right. Bye bye.
Bye bye.
So this is Joy Lashery signing off. I do want to thank everybody for watching today. I know we're a little over our time. Happy St. Patrick's Day coming up. Hopefully you have a good one. Enjoy that green beer. And in the meantime, just stay tuned to Matured Musicians. You will find information there. And hopefully we'll get to see you for an interview in the future. Bye, everybody. Thanks again for listening. Well, maybe not.